After all the New Year festivities, it's time for a reality check. The economy is not growing and South Africans are experiencing increasing financial strain. Economist Dawie Roodt joins me now via Skype. Dawie, thanks very much indeed for talking to us on New Year's Day. Increasing debt, an economy that's anemic, record unemployment, those were the features that shaped 2019. More of the same, you think, for this year?
Yes, I think there's something you let out, and that is that the state's debt itself has reached record high levels, and we're probably going to see a continuation of that. Now, put that into normal terms, that simply means that because the state is in such deep financial troubles, they need to get the money somewhere, and that means that they need to spend less money on things like, for example, education or health services or whatever, and they need to increase their tax stake. And that means that a further increase in taxes can be expected. So I would say that is perhaps one of the single most important pressing issues in the South African economy, and that's the state of the state's finances, which is in serious deep trouble. And I'm afraid we're probably going to get more information by the Minister of Finance in next month's budget, but that's something I'm very concerned about. And then, of course, that contributes to things like, for example, weaker economic growth, and weak economic growth means fewer people employed and also means an increase in poverty.
Dawie, you may have raised some eyebrows there. I mean, we're just a couple of weeks ahead of that February budget, and you mentioned the possibility of tax hikes. How likely is that?
It's not a possibility. I can guarantee you there will be tax hikes. The question is which one of the taxes will be increased. I'm pretty sure things like, for example, the fuel levy will be increased, the sin taxes and so on, but they are relatively small. When you talk about tax increases, there are only two major taxes that can make a difference to the Minister of Finance. The one is value-added tax, and the other one is personal income taxes. I think personal income taxes will be increased. I'm not so sure about value-added taxes, but I can guarantee you many other taxes will be increased.
If we got to put a positive spin on this, Dawie, and it's become increasingly difficult to do so, but we've seen a couple of things last year. First of all, corruption cases. You had that the State Capture Commission out. It seems to be moving in some sort of a direction. We've also seen some investment coming in through those investment conferences. If you had to point out to any green shoots, do you see any as we transcend into 2020?
It's very difficult, to point out to some of those green shoots, but there's something that I think that we perhaps underestimate, and that is what the South African Reserve Bank has achieved the last couple of years, especially under Lesetja Kganyago. Now, we all point fingers at him and tell him that he's running too tight a ship, that he's keeping interest rates too high. But today, we get the benefits of that. And inflation today is at a very low level. And that creates, certainly, the opportunity for the Reserve Bank to cut interest rates. So if you want to talk about something positive, without a doubt, the possibility, and I think the likelihood, that the Reserve Bank will be in a position where they can cut interest rates. So I expect that to happen. But I'm afraid for the rest, we are in really deep trouble. It's not going to be easy, but at least the South African Reserve Bank could give us a bit of something to be happy about pretty soon in the year.
Dawie, should we be happy about what I saw on the markets counter as I walked in here? Around about 14 Rand to the US dollar. That's where the Rand stands. It's been really gaining against the US dollar in recent weeks. Can we benefit something from that as we get into 2020?
Without a doubt, a stronger Rand is an indication that we've got foreigners interested in South Africa to invest in South Africa, especially in the South African financial markets. And that's no surprise to me, because the South African financial markets, especially the equities, are exceptionally cheap in South Africa. We really offer excellent investment opportunities, and our bond market is also very well priced. And I'm really not surprised to see that foreigners are buying into those kind of markets. But having said that, the Rand appreciating to these sort of levels, of course, is also an indication that perhaps the Rand was a little bit overdone last year, that the possible downgrade has been perhaps over-discounted, if there's such a term. And of course, a stronger Rand will also be another good reason why the Reserve Bank can cut interest rates. A stronger Rand, without a doubt, is very good news. And the Rand appreciated by more than Rand against the US dollar is just an indication of foreigners buying the very cheap financial assets in South Africa. But that doesn't mean that they are necessarily investing in things like, for example, factories. That's the kind of investments that we also need in South Africa. But at least some money is flowing into the country, which is always good news.
And Dawie, finally, I mean, you would get some South Africans waking up today saying, geez, I've got to find a way to make some money. So in other words, whether it's saving more or finding some alternate income streams. Do you think there might be some fertile ground this year for ordinary South Africans to either save or make some money?
Well, I would advise South Africans, well, on the saving side, make sure that you have a proper budget with all the normal things that should be in the budget. But on the money-making side, my advice to people always is to see if you can start your own business. We are really in need of entrepreneurs in South Africa. And if you can make it in this kind of environment, a very, very difficult economic environment where things are really tough, then I can guarantee you when things start turning around, your business will be really roaring ahead. So if I can advise people, make sure you have a proper budget, know what's going on in your finances, and take a chance, start a business.
Dawie Roodt, always a pleasure to chat to you, Chief Economist there from Efficient Group.